I'm just going to bring in our first guests, our first duo, the Yes Men. They are a hijinks performing duo who have impersonated Dow Chemical CEOs Paul Wolfowitz and representatives of the WTO, Halliburton, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, among other entities. They are the subject of an exhibit at the gallery that is called Carriage Trade, which is at 277 Grand Street. So if you're in New York City or in the tri-state area, you should check that out. They have also made 3 feature-length documentaries, The Yes Men, The Yes Men Fix the World, and The Yes Men Are Revolting. So without any further ado, bringing in Mike Bonanno and Andy Bitchelbaum. Hi, guys. How are you?
Great. Good to see you.
Thank you. Pretty good. Yeah, you too. Thank you so much for joining. You know, I introduced you guys as hijinks duo, but I want to know, like, how do you guys actually describe yourself?
We usually introduce ourselves as activists who use creative techniques to achieve change. We use artistic or creative techniques, but not with an eye to what the art world thinks or galleries think, but what might actually spread messages in the media or achieve other kinds of change.
So you want to set this up where this is? This one is?
Oops. Oh, yeah. So this is set in Amelia Island, Florida, at I think the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, and it's a conference on catastrophic loss, which is the insurance industry's term for losses that run into the billions of dollars, like really, really big insurance problems. And so we attended as Halliburton, and I guess what year was this? Was this 2005 or it was around then? It was like shortly after this sort of real boom for Halliburton. They got all of this infusion for their military operations. They'd previously been, an oil services company that then grew under Dick Cheney into an all kinds of things company, including a lot of like military contracting. And, with the attendant explosions in Iraq and the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan, they were doing really well. So this was we attended this conference as Halliburton, and we went there to announce the solution. This was just after Hurricane Katrina, so it was 2005. And so we were announcing Halliburton's solution to the problems of climate change, the problems that are brought on by these catastrophic weather events that cause catastrophic loss.
Invited to speak on this panel. A lot of you work with the insurance industry, of course. Insurance has become extremely worried about some grave new dangers to people that we're seeing in the world around us today. And I'm, of course, talking about climate change and the disasters that it brings. But I can personally guarantee you that level heads will always be able to turn lemons into lemonade. Consider the Black Plague. This was an unspeakably rotten event, of course, in which 1/3 of Europe's population died in great agony. No one, of course, would wish such a thing on any civilization. Yet without it, without the Black Plague, the old business models of Europe would never have been overturned by the entrepreneurs of the Renaissance. And what would the world be without the Mona Lisa? For those of us in positions of responsibility, however, who might have to take charge in a crisis, even more innovative solutions are necessary. I'd like now to introduce my colleague here, Dr. Northrop Goody, who's the head of our Emergency Products Development Unit at Halliburton. And Dr. Goody will be showing some mock-ups of some items that his unit has developed.
We want something that's going to be able to save a human being no matter what Mother Nature throws at him. And so this is the answer. This is the Halliburton Survivaball. It's 3 easy steps for deployment: suiting up, inflating, and of course, launching. Launching out of a building, and we have an artist's rendition of what it might be like in Houston when we launch our Survivaballs. In the event of extreme catastrophe, there might be a scarcity of resources. In this case, we've got a Survivaball here that's going up and extracting resources, in this case from an animal. And you don't want to be exposed to the elements, but you still want to be able to extract resources from, for example, a cow. They're going to be able to go underwater, rated at 50 feet. They can be used in any condition. It doesn't matter whether you're in a landslide in California or even in the Arctic. Of course, any other conditions, whether it's tsunamis or tornadoes, the survivable is designed to withstand. But the best part of the survivable is that people need people. And so our biggest inspiration for the way that a community should work with survivables comes from biology. As some of you probably know, amoebas gather together and actually form another body. They aggregate. And so these one-celled organisms come together as a single body. For example, here's a raft formation of survivables in the ocean, floating, communicating, exchanging nutrients, differentiating function. Last of all, this is literally thousands of survivables dancing through the streets.
And we'll be happy to take any questions. So if there are any more technical ones for Northrop here or general ones. Yeah.
In my mind, this clearly also plays right into terrorist attacks. What kind of defense mechanisms do you envision against biological, chemical, radiological attacks?
If you could demonstrate the turtle position, please, that would be great. Basically, if you duck down...
I'll assume you'll have some kind of bubble mask or something.
Visor, heads-up display, the whole thing.
Very cool.
So.
To me, it was just the way it fit was probably if you're able to make them so people want to wear them for a long time, you'd have more cushioning or something. Yeah. But I can imagine they'd be pretty darn expensive to make you really market them.
Well, yeah.
Although I guess the people who need them, most of the price should be no object, right? And if you're getting them for say the
that's right.
cabinet, to pick a
Hi, Northrop.
Gary, how are you? It's very interesting. One of the things that we're trying to do is modeling of terrorism around the world. So, and this is clearly, something that plays right into that kind of an event.
Well, it does. That's it. It's supposed
much more so than, Katrina.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean.
How do you guys keep straight faces?
It's natural because the people you're talking to are playing their roles perfectly. So you just kind of get swept into their roles, your role. They see you as who you're listed on the program as, and they're talking to you, and you're from Halliburton, and so you just, great. They believe it. You believe it. It's natural.
Do you ever almost lose it? Like just at yourself?
No, because you think about the people who attend conferences like this or go on TV as PR representatives for big companies, they're not particularly talented. So if you start cracking up, you just pretend you're just having a fun, good-hearted chuckle.
Having a ball. Yeah.
You just transition into that.
There's this kind of funny thing where you can't fail. Your performance can't fail because people believe you are a real person.
Right.
So no matter what you do, it's still reality. It still works. And if you're nervous or anxious or weird, you're just, it's kind of in a way endearing because then the representative is nervous and anxious and weird, which in a conference environment, people then try to actually help you because they kind of feel bad for you because they all identify with, you. Like if I'm supporting Andy and being the PR guy, helping him out, if I'm anxious or I'm fumbling something or there's a problem, people will help because they identify with you in that context. And you don't laugh about it because it just does kind of feel real when you're there. It's not, and nobody else is laughing. What's funny is to watch people's responses later.
Right.
And if you watch our movies carefully, it's usually the reaction shots of people not laughing that are funny to watch. And when you're watching it back, the mediated version, the real thing is somehow not funny at all.